Hey friends, welcome back to Peculiar Potions. We've got a lot of facilities now properly established around here, but these are things that cost resources to make, especially super common resources like wood. Well, we were pretty good on the wood situation for a long time after logging this area after we found it, but that wealth is starting to dry up. So we're going to need to establish a proper area for a tree farm. Alright, the tree farm. Now, when it comes to building things in the hideaway, you kinda gotta get creative with the way that you're managing your space. As I've mentioned earlier in this series, it's kind of like managing a small park in Roller Coaster Tycoon, where you kinda have to make really effective use of your space and really compact things in a really creative kind of way. So, anybody that's been tuning into this series for a while now knows that I've been planning on terraforming the Stony Peaks area over here into the tree farm area. Because with all the uneven terrain and very small limited spaces that we have within the actual confines of the hideaway, it's not really feasible to have a large expanse of relatively flat land to be able to farm trees on. So I decided that this would be the elevation level where I would start laying down dirt, and this would be where we'd start planting down trees. We would have all different kinds of varieties of trees, everything except for the new mangrove trees that were added by the 1.19 wild update. Everything else we have there. It also came to my attention that the llamas that had been generously donated by one of the wandering traders a while back, you can hear my dog shaking in the background there, apologies for that. The wandering trader that had so generously donated his llamas a previous time and I had gotten leads from, yeah, it turns out when I right-clicked them all those times and there were hearts and such, that did indeed mean that the llamas liked me. And you can right-click on them with a chest to put a chest on them, and it doesn't actually make a chest's worth of space on them, it just makes 9 slots worth of space on them, which is still a decent bit, especially if you're taking a couple llamas around, so I loaded them all up on dirt. And then this skeleton came and attacked me, he had glowy boots, I had to hide away a little bit, and I got his boots, so who's the real winner here, you know? They always say that you should walk a mile in a man's shoes to really understand him. Well, I don't know if I'm gonna understand that skeleton, but I'm gonna finish off this tree build while wearing his shoes, so here we go. Maybe it'll give me a good frame of mind for whatever the heck that skeleton was thinking or something. And they're glowy shoes, they're all fancy. Now, this was just going to be dirt in here, unless I actually got grass over here. And grass has some sort of a complicated algorithm for how it spreads, but essentially, dirt needs to be close-ish to grass, within 3 tiles, I believe. And then every time the game ticks, it'll calculate a percentage chance that, like, a grass could spread onto that block. So, I created a path on either side that connected the grass to the dirt here. So as this build went on, it would hopefully become fully covered by grass by the time that we were done with this project here. So, I got that all established, and then I started digging into the mountainside here to create more established flat space here to be laying a great quantity of trees. This was a lot of digging, and this would solve the cobblestone situation around here for a long time, considering my double chest of cobblestone in the house by the end of this project would be completely filled with stacks of cobblestone, and I would still have some stacks of cobblestone to spare after that. I did wind up putting some cobblestone into the auto smelter to make sure that I would have some actual stone blocks to replace with some of the cobblestone here if I needed to, like, mine in and get a particular resource, or if I just simply made a mistake or some such. So I wanted to dig into this area a little bit, like the whole mountainous area here, it kind of jutted in to that forward area a bit, so I wanted to make do with that by digging things out and making this more nice flat ground to establish this tree farm in. But once I got to about this far, I started having second thoughts and started to wonder if I wanted to do something else back there. First of all, I wanted to figure out something nice scenic to do, like some sort of a waterfall. And the initial idea was to do it up here and have it flowing down as if it was welling up all the way to the top there and welling down. But this is eventually a design that I would change down the line as it went on. But with the initial idea of it flowing from up there, I thought like, oh, what if it flows down here into this random tunnel cave thingamabob here? It kind of wells down into this underwater thingamabob, and then wells up. Wells down isn't a thing that happens, but it's just my mind autofilling things. These time-lapse narrations are unscripted, by the way, so I can narrate it at the same time that things are happening, for sure. In case anyone's ever wondering why I keep on messing up with my words whenever we're doing time-lapse stuff. So, when it comes to extending things back here, I had the idea of, like, what if instead of it being more tree farm and more area for that, this instead served as a scenic place and this was a bit of a lake. So rather than the waterfall at the front flowing down, we could instead have the waterfall at back flowing into a lake here, and then that lake overflows a little bit forward, and then that becomes the river that goes through our tree farm. So, that's what I did here. I put down cobblestone just to make this completely all source blocks and whatnot at the top. I used cobblestone rather than dirt because I have plenty of dirt around and I wouldn't know which blocks to break and which ones to keep at the end. So even though cobblestone would take longer to mine, it helped differentiate things enough there for me that I was able to keep track of what was going on. I did want to still do like a double waterfall kind of design, so I tried to find the perfect place to put down another bucket of water there. And then I started decorating this area with dirt. So while we would have our tree farm in the front, we would have a whole hidden oasis back here that would be supplying the tree farm with the water that flows through it, nourishes it, and gives it life. So I filled it up with some kelp, which the kelp farm has been wonderfully producing for us lately. And I made sure that I dug back here so that we could extend the grass from there over to here, because again, it's just gonna be dirt and that's it, unless grass is actually able to slowly spread over to the area. So I connected it to the animal farm bit back there so that the grass could slowly spread as this project was going on, and slowly but surely replaced all the stone at the very top layers with dirt, so this would eventually become grass and become a nice hidden hideaway of life in a way. So I wasn't gonna go like all the way up to the very top, just this little innermost bit. It's not like this, it's not gonna be much of a hidden oasis if it goes like all the way to the top, then it's not very hidden. I want it to be surrounded by these mountains so that there wouldn't be any hint of it being there unless you saw maybe the waterfalls from the distance or maybe some trees poking out from the top. Now, as I've mentioned during previous builds, I very much do not want to have torches around for like the final versions of whatever builds. So you can see me replacing one of the torches with a lantern in the wall there, and that's something that I would do more and more of as this build went on. But for now, I just continue to replace what I could with dirt. There was quite a decent bit of coal and iron in there that I wound up mining, so got a decent bit of that from this whole escapade as well. Making sure to plug everything up, eliminate any chance of it causing any lag in there or spawning any monsters, anything like that, and I had to go sleep because the phantoms were coming after me. So then I had to plot out my areas for where I'd want my trees to be, and I decided that this area back here would be for my jungle trees and the dark oak. So, considering that dark oak is a top tier wood and a fantastic thing, I decided that this would be the 2x3. I didn't actually have enough saplings at the time, so I had to keep on waiting for them to grow so I could chop them down, get more saplings, and then plant more dark oak trees, so we just had these little placeholder dirt blocks in for a little while. Also, look how much the grass spread during this time. It's fantastic. So, was going to have the 2x3 of dark oak, and then just the 3 jungle trees in the front, because jungle trees, when they're a 2x2, they grow really, really big. So, they're going to wind up being a lot of wood anyway. I would eventually take out that middle jungle sapling set and just have 2 on either side, and that would still be plenty enough. You might also notice that the grass spread a lot faster from the right side than it did the left here, and that's because initially the left side only had 2 dirt blocks going down, whereas that right side had however long that is worth of blocks, like a lot, and that's essentially just a lot more opportunities for grass to make forward progress every time the game calculates whether grass should spread on that tick. So, it suddenly clicked to me, oh, I should have totally made more dirt here on this side from the get-go, but alas, it worked out. Grass is spread. It's fantastic. And as the dark oaks grew, I would be chopping them down bit by bit, collecting all the saplings so I could fill up this little section completely with dark oaks. So because it was that phase where I still don't have a whole lot of saplings, I had to go around the tops, bash all the leaves, collect all the saplings I could, and now that view is blocked thanks to the jungle tree there. And I've finally had enough saplings, just barely, to plant all the dark oak trees that I need. So that was great. Once again, the camera angle being blocked. The camera shot being blocked, not the camera angle. You know what I mean, regardless. Put some lanterns in the walls there, made it go into the wall a little bit. And I would slowly replace this whole area with dirt. It's a good thing I had so much dirt from previous projects and previous digging, because this wound up being a very dirt-consuming project, and a very time-consuming project. This is probably one of, if not the longest time-lapse done as part of this series yet, considering this whole project took me about 5 hours in terms of real time. So, it was definitely a bit time-consuming to say the least. But, slowly and surely would terraform this area into a nice plains, mountainous, tree farm kind of thing that kind of goes into the land down there a little bit, so the trees are a little bit hidden away, but you can still see them like poking out the tops in a really unique kind of way. So we're able to terraform this Stony Peaks area into something that's actually usable for more things than just going around and mining coal and iron, because Most of the time, that's all that Stony Peaks are really good for, is just go around it, harvest the coal and iron, and then you're done, and that's all the use for the Stony Peaks done. So, while this would be a very long and a very painful process on my wrist, if I'm going to be honest, of holding M1 for so long, it would be worth it in the end, as we slowly brought this area into something that's actually usable and would help serve us throughout the rest of this adventure here. Now, I decided that the river would go through here, and I would make a small bridge that would go across to connect these areas. And we wouldn't have those jungle trees in the front, because again, the 2 jungle trees is more than enough, and we don't want the other side of the bridge there to be blocked. So now I came plotting out what actual setup do I want for the trees here. And I eventually decided on this idea of having 5 birch saplings on that side. I was originally going to have it go down the lane here, but I eventually changed my mind to have the oak saplings actually going parallel to the birch saplings. So we'd have 5 of each of those, and then we would have the 2 rows of the spruce, and we'd have 2 rows of the acacia for some really nice wood types, while having still a healthy smidge of oak and birch. Now, I didn't actually have very many acacia saplings left, so I had to go into the adjacent countryside and harvest a few more of those to make sure that I got the saplings that I needed for this project. I would be sure to replant some saplings around here so that we'd have these trees regrown once again. Continue the cycle of life. So this was me coming into a decision on what exact dimensions I wanted to do here. But then I was like, okay, if this river is flowing from here now, I gotta do something about this. And then I thought, what if this becomes a double-deckered lake? So there's 2 waterfalls from up above that are flowing into the upper lake, being the hidden oasis, which from there becomes another waterfall that flows into the second layer of lake, and then that flows down into the river. We'll have like a multi-tiered water system here, which, you know, it's not exactly flowing for the river, it's just still water there, essentially. For a build like this, I don't think I'd be able to get like flowing water all the way down, have that sloped all the way down. So just something simple that looks nice enough, I figured was good enough for this project, that the flatter it is, the better, so that becomes the easier to actually use it. It did also occur to me that grass wasn't going to go to the other side if I didn't have a little bridge across. Also, I ran out of dirt, so I had to exit the hideaway and start collecting a lot of dirt, because I kind of ran out. So grass wouldn't spread to those opposite sides of the shore, unless they could actually do that with a little bit of a dirt bridge. So that's why I set up these temporary dirt bridges, both at the oasis back there and at the river over here, so that while I was working on this, grass could slowly spread, and then we could take out those temporary bridges once grass had gotten to the other side, because then we wouldn't have to worry about it. So I was figuring out the exact dimensions for this secondary lake, where exactly I wanted it. And I would also have to do something about that river that was flowing into the cave system there. I did still want it to be flowing down there, but be a lot less noticeable, at least. I didn't want it to be as dramatic, because the main river was going to be the one that's flowing through the tree farm. So I just wanted to have it be like a slight, barely noticeable indentation in the wall over there, where you notice, if you look close, that part of the water is actually going down into the cave system, and part of that is probably what's leading back up, and helping flow into the river up there. And part of it is flowing down into the cave system, which is probably going to some sort of a reservoir that's upwelling all the way up to restart the cycle anew. So eventually I got a pretty decent set of dimensions for this lake here. It wouldn't be super deep, it'd be a pretty shallow one. I add some more kelp to give it some more life as well. And then I started adding the lanterns. No more of these ugly torches around. Let's go ahead and make this area look properly decked out and loved and cared for with some lanterns here. Make it a nice, pleasant little area, not just a crappily quickly made thing like you get the look of with torches. So I started placing some saplings around so that as we were working on the tree farm down below, hopefully a lot of these saplings would grow and bring proper life to the hidden oasis here, and make it a nice, quaint place for us to hang out. Now, I needed to add some lighting around here, so I added some lanterns to the bridge, I added some lanterns to the walls. Give this place a bit of care without it being torches. I even made sure to get to some of the higher levels here and put some more dirt down so it looked like it went across, like this was all one interconnected kind of thing. So then I realized that if I wanted to start putting trees down, I would need to get these chests and these llamas out of the way. So I had to go to my home, empty out my inventory, just so I could come back and get more stuff, load things up on the llamas, and take them out of the way so that we could get properly working there. So after a trip, I managed to empty out those chests, and then I was able to put the llamas just there on the side where they could hang out in the meantime. So that was when I finally realized that this was the design that I want here, in terms of the tree distribution. As for lighting in this area in general, I didn't want to have lampposts in the way here because I didn't want them to get in the way of the trees. So I eventually settled on this design where there's lanterns underneath the ground and there's trapdoors that let you access them. So it helps illuminate the surrounding area without actually being in the way at all. And then came the river. The river can't just flow to nowhere. That would be very jarring and weird. It would just be like a really long lake, and if water's actively flowing into it, it wouldn't make much sense because you would think it would overflow. So this river needed to lead somewhere. So I started to create this mountain through the hill that would flow out from the other side and start traveling down the nearby ravine, which, if we're going to think about how this would work realistically, you would think that maybe it would lead into some sort of a reservoir that's helping to supply the waterfalls up above. So all in all, this kind of completes a cycle of water in that sense. And as we move past the kelp farm here and move past the sugarcane and cactus auto farms, we see hidden away here, tucked up higher in the mountains, our tree farm of all kinds of different trees. We have birch, oak, spruce, jungle, dark oak, and acacia. If ever we needed any wood, we'd be able to come here, log the tree farm, replant the saplings, and then come back to it again the next time that we need wood. And over here, giving life to the whole area, was the hidden oasis, a subtle reminder of the beauty of nature. And with that, the tree farm was complete. Alright, well, another quaint, snowy day out here in the hideaway. The tree farm project is complete. That is done. It is great. I was gonna start over there and, show the finished project and whatnot. But I'm starting over here because I want to talk a little bit first about how during that time lapse here and there, bit by bit, I've been noticing stuff like this gravel here. And, well, as the time lapse went on and as time went on, it's actually been a few days in terms of like real life time since finishing up the tree farm time lapse thingamabob there. But I've been noticing a decent few blocks around, and I'm starting to think that I have an Enderman issue. This is not possible for a player to do unless they have like Silk Touch, and most likely this is an Enderman. So I don't know what is going on with Enderman around here, but I've been noticing like a decent few gravel blocks around. It makes me wonder if there's like a gravelly cave or something like that they're spawning, and I'm gonna have to like venture down into the caves at some point and light it all up and such, because I've been noticing a decent few gravel blocks around. Was the case. Like there's one over here as well. They're just kind of around all over the place, and I don't understand why, but they just are. Maybe I should before I forget. Wait, do I have my no, I don't have my my boots to get over there. Whatever, I'm just gonna slap this here for now, I guess. I want to have inventory space that I can harvest the logs and whatnot from here. I should probably be resting up. I don't know if it's nighttime or whatnot right now, but you're not gonna believe this. So turns out one of the biggest things that happened, we'll find out why there's dirt there in a hot second. This literally happened during the recording of the time lapse. You can't make this up. Like, so all my sheep escaped except for this one that's just like hanging out here. Can I push you in? Can I? Oh my goodness gracious. Come on, yeah. Okay. So my sheep are gone. My sheep are just gone. So let me take this problem dirt block. This was not there when I started the time lapse, but it was there by the time that making the tree farm was done. And by then, all my sheep had escaped except for, that one there. Which is why, the doors were closed over here, but they could still get out like this way. So I put like some temporary dirt blocks up like that, which I guess I don't need to have there anymore now. But most of them are already like way out of there by now is the thing. Like, is kind of what's going on. I don't think any got in here. I don't think they'd be able to jump into there. None got in here. Some got in there because there's like a crafting table where you can jump. So over here, look at this. There's a goat here now too, apparently. What the heck? So there's now more sheep in the chicken pen than there are sheep in the sheep pen. Like, You know, so I'm at a complete loss here, but we might not be in a completely hopeless situation when it comes to the sheep situation, because of this area over here. Look how many sheep are in here. You can't jump from this, like, with the lantern in the way. I'm fairly certain a sheep wouldn't be able to jump this, right? But because there's like this ledge here where you can fall in from the outside, I don't know if these are my sheep. I don't know if these are wildly spawning sheep. This must be a wildly spawning pig, and I wanted to get pigs in one of those pens, so we now have 1 out of 2 pigs, and we need 1 more. So, and there's also a cow in here, apparently. So, the whole animal situation is this right now. And not only that, but shortly after the time lapse was done, and I was just like chilling AFK and whatnot while, you know, the kelp farm was going, making me furnace fuel and these things were going, I come back here, and they're not here anymore, thankfully. But there was a freaking, like, pillager raid. Is it called a raid? I don't know. It was a group of pillagers. I think a raid is just when they're, like, going to a village. But, like, a group of adventuring pillagers and whatnot with, oh my goodness, with, like, their banners and stuff. They're not here anymore. I took a screenshot. I'll have it on screen right now so you can see what I saw there. But it's been a little while since that point. I still don't know what's going on with the trees. The gravel and the trees, I still don't know what's going on with those things. Like, I don't know if it's a server bug. Whenever I try Googling, like, oh, Minecraft trees losing their leaves or leaves despawning, it just brings up results about how leaves despawn after, you know, after the freaking stumps are gone, after the logs are gone. So it's not... I'm getting this out of here. Oh, by the way, in case you're curious, I've been hanging out here AFK a decent bit, and we now have a lot of furnace fuel. So the furnace fuel situation is, you know, basically sorted out. Just need to have, you know, enough patience for this to build up and whatnot, and, you know, make dried kelp and stuff. Is the only case there. So we have a lot of dried kelp. I haven't brought any home yet. I'm still going through like the last little smidge of coal, but maybe I should just store that coal away, and then we can, you know, start using dried kelp. We have a lot of sugarcane. We have a lot of cactus. I still don't know what you use cactus for. Like, I remember back in the day it was green dye, but I don't know if you use it for other things or whatever the heck. I'm gonna have to make a path up here at some point, but that'll be a future project. Alright, so coming over here, look at this. Look at this fully grown in. Isn't it nice? Isn't it a nice area? So, oh yeah, think about the gravel blocks when I was showing like weird locations that gravel blocks have ended up. I noticed another one right here. Like, what the heck? I'm genuinely so confused. There's some gravel over here. One wasn't taken, was it? Doesn't look like. Yeah, I'm genuinely so confused. I guess there's gravel all around, especially in like this kind of area. I don't know why Enderman would be so gravitated towards gravel, but I guess mayhap they are. We have both the llamas over here that just have, their inventories open currently to load it up with wood, because I don't know how much of a harvest this is going to wind up being. But it turned into a nice, quaint little place. So we have the 5 birch, we have the 5 oak, we have 2 jungle trees. It's, you know, it's going to wind up being a lot of wood. 6 dark oak, because, you know, it's a top tier wood, so plenty of space for them. We have plenty of spruce over here. I found out that it's kind of difficult to traverse through, and I kind of have to go through the river a decent bit. We've got the acacia over here. Now, it seems like these didn't want to grow in their initial spots that I placed the saplings during the time lapse, so I had to, like, put the saplings in some other places until eventually they grew. Some didn't manage to grow, which sucks to suck, but hey, look at this, a nice hidden oasis here. This would be like a nice, quaint little place to come on, like a secret fishing excursion. So, these trees aren't to harvest, these are purely to bring to life the secret oasis over here. So, yeah, I like it. It's quaint. I like how it turned out. It's very pleasant. If ever I want to take a little bit of a break from everything going on over there and all this set of shenanigans, this could be a nice little escape to get over to, you know? A nice little place I can easily just jump on over here. I was not imagining this whole Stony Peaks area getting terraformed into this when we first started in the hideaway here. But hey, this is what it turned into. I'm also, before we harvest these trees, I'm also gonna need to harvest those there, because I initially planted those as like, oh, there'll be a form of wood until I get a tree farm, and then I just left them as I made the tree farm. So, whoops. So I'll harvest all that, and I'll get back to you here on, you know, how much wood this winds up resulting in. Whoa, 2 time lapses in one video? Yeah, that's what's going on here. Mostly because this tree farm just takes a decent while to harvest, which is to be expected considering how many trees there are here, so I guess it's not really all that much of a surprise. This also served as a little bit of a test run to see how going through and harvesting all this would work, to make sure that I have this system down if ever I need to come here and harvest more wood in the future. So I have an idea of what kind of order I'd harvest things here, and how I would go about replanting them. And that also taught me the important lesson that when grass grows over the spots that they were at before, it makes it a little bit difficult to know exactly what spots that I need to put the trees down. I have to figure it out each time, do the math each time, and count the spaces. So I decided that I would put gravel markers to essentially signify the spots that the saplings would be replanted, because otherwise the grass growing over the dirt would kind of screw me up in that regard. Now, there was still the big cave down here, so in a couple of cases I would need to go down there either just by hopping down, sometimes potentially using water, and just build blocks up to there so I would actually be able to place gravel down. Considering gravel is a block that falls, it's affected by gravity much like sand, so I had to make sure that I was doing that. So then I came over to start harvesting the dark oaks. With 6 dark oaks here in this area, it would definitely result in a lot of dark oak wood every time that I come to harvest this, which makes me feel like we should definitely do a build with dark oak in the near future here. Now, rather than fully surrounding these 2x2s with gravel, I instead just elected to put gravel on either side. That was enough of a placeholder and marker for me to know exactly where we would need to go. It is also worth noting that, considering it takes 4 saplings of dark oak to replant these, I would need to make sure that I was getting rid of all the leaves and making sure that I could get all the saplings I could get. Considering it would be a little bit sketchy me getting the right amount of saplings that I would need. I'm always a little bit worried about not getting enough saplings to be able to replant them all. I do wish that dark oaks drop saplings a little bit more frequently, because I feel like whenever I'm harvesting this, I'm very narrowly scraping by on the 24 saplings that I need to replant the full thing again. So adding the same markers for the jungle trees over here. And luckily I did have all the 24 saplings that I needed. Now, I figured this was also about time to start chopping down all these spruce trees over here. I had originally planted them as like a temporary means to get wood until I had an established tree farm made. But now that I have an established tree farm made, I don't need these anymore, and I didn't even harvest them for wood in the first place, so whoops, let's do that now, how about then? So this will also free up this space over here for us to do some other builds in the near future here. And also supplies with a good amount of spruce wood, which is a wood that I very much like using in various builds around here. Getting this area all cleared up will provide it with the space that we need to build whatever it is we're going to build here in the future. Okay, so I just finished logging the area over here. Not even all the leaves have fully despawned yet. And coming over here, I couldn't help but notice that a lot of the things have already regrown. That, yeah, that certainly didn't take long. Of course, not everything's grown out. I feel like these markers are really going to help here. Yeah, it really seems like the kind of thing where this tree farm is expansive enough that you could probably just take like a whole dedicated session if you wanted to, just like hanging around here, chopping things down, planting them back immediately, and then just doing like laps around and getting, you know, a bazillion different logs. So I got about 2 stacks of spruce logs from that over there. As for what I got from here, from this whole tree farm harvest, if we go ahead and check here, this dark oak does include the like a little bit more than half a stack of dark oak that I like came in with. I had like 40 or something like that. I don't remember exactly what I had there. But yeah, so a whole lot of logs, and then there's the jungle logs there, nearly 2 stacks of that from those 2 trees. So, yeah, it definitely seems like the wood situation is properly sorted out, as long as I take time, like, off camera to, you know, actually be harvesting these, is the thing, if I properly get around to doing that. But yeah, look at this, okay, there's 1 dark oak that hasn't grown in yet, but the other ones have fully grown in. So, yeah, the tree farm is pretty nice. I have heard about like some designs that people have made where you can just like hold M1 or like hold a button that gets you to hold like certain buttons and just have like a full auto tree farm if you fill it up with bone meal. Apparently you can do that in like a square kind of tower setup, so I'll leave some space around here in case that's something that I'd like to do in the future, have like an auto kind of tree farm next to a regular tree farm. Maybe. Might not. Oh, gosh darn you, game. That might not be a half bad idea there. But for bone meal, I'm probably going to want to, I don't know, establish a railway to the skeleton farm that I know is over there. Maybe, I don't know, because I don't really want to run back there every time that I need a bunch of bone meal. I mean, if I really just, like, bring the llamas over and, like, load up, there's probably, like, a bazillion bones over there, so might not be a half bad idea. I'll get the last little bits of the saplings that dropped over here. Yoink. Even though I probably have, like, way more saplings than I'm ever gonna need of spruce, but hey, that's just gonna allow me to decorate, like, the outskirts, make this hideaway a little bit more hidden away, maybe? Maybe, I'm not quite sure. But yes, with that, we can knock another thing off of the to-do list. I am gonna have to put, like, some other things on the to-do list here at some point, but out of our initial starting items, that's another thing that we can knock off the list. The tree farm is done. We did a massive ton of terraforming over there, and we now have the dedicated tree area without having to worry about, you know, what little space we might have around here. We can use this space for other things. And now we have this space here that I probably shouldn't have put all those trees in the first place. As for next time, I'm not 100% certain what we're going to be doing next time yet, but I mean, I'll figure something out for next time. I'll figure something out for next time, I think. So, with that, thanks all who stopped by and tuned in for another episode of Peculiar Potions. And I'm gonna wrap things up here for now. So, with that, thanks all once again, and take care. See you.